afternoon. Hello, let's not sleep on me. Thank you so much. Such a privilege for me. My name is Success, and hopefully I get to know each of us through our session. I'll be able to discuss extensively on a number of issues. So how was the session this morning? Like, anybody enjoyed it? Mind blowing, absolutely. I was in the room upstairs and I was listening, and so many things were just going through my head. So many things were just going through my head. I felt, as a young person, I felt privileged. I felt challenged. I felt so many things happening at the same time. And incidentally, today, if not specifically today, but this week, makes it exactly 4 years that I first stepped into this house. For my very first HMT. So exactly 4 years ago, I came in here. I came in here as a wandering young man, very, very, very hungry for truth, very disturbed with, my life, church experience, religion, so many things, And coming here, it was just like I always say again and again. I've recounted the experience for many people that it was just like practically uprooting the very foundations of your life. The foundations that you thought, okay, now this has been set, let's build on it. And then, that experience for me, it totally upturned everything practically. And all of the things that Dr. Sunday was saying, the only thing I'd met before Dr. Sunday was church shift. So when I read church shift, and that started something I knew. But there wasn't so much information as at that time. The YouTube messages were not there, the blog wasn't there, and all of that. So you had to either understand Russian. If you go on the church websites, most of the messages then and all that. So it started something in me, and I wanted more. But unfortunately, also my African mindset tells me that when a man is big, you don't get to to see them. So the pastor told me that you can sing, just get to meet him, I said, I'm just a student, I don't know, And then I came here and we had such a wonderful, wonderful HMT that time. And to be very honest with you, I would regard that April HMT 2014 as the beginning of the rest of my life without any reservation. And not just for me, since that time, definitely, I've been to most of the HMTs really, of between that time and now. And every one of them had always been very, very unique. And one thing that people will always tell you again and again is that HMT that they come for is always kickstarting something new in their lives. Because no two HMTs had ever been the same. There's always something, different, exactly. So when Dr. Sunday was teaching this morning, I was thinking, like, when will this man ever stop? When will that depth will ever finish? When you think, okay, I've exhausted everything now, So there's always the need to come around again to refreshing what we understand and what we thought that we grabbed. So going from that HMT, of course I didn't talk much in that HMT. I just had to listen to a lot of people. Definitely there have been people who had been here again and again who had been there. So I just observed and it's interesting how much people are able to do with the mindset of the kingdom, coming from HMT, getting all of this understanding, and literally going to the world and setting the world on fire. Very, very amazing. So the question I always ask them, most of the participants then was, how were you able to literally go from what you were to what you are now? The likes of Pastor Derek Schneider was there at that time, and you saw him take this HMT model around the world, and people doing many great things. And in fact, there is the story that many of us may not know about, but like the current vice president of Nigeria, currently, I was told that he also had the church shift training. And it was after the church shift training years that he decided to go into politics because he just used to be a pastor. So he decided to go into government. Immediately after that, I'm not just going to be boxed in the pulpit and all of that. I who knew that just a few years after, that going to be the opportunity for him to become that. So the interesting thing for me was I wanted to know how people, yes, after all of this training, that this literally just, it's like a spark, and people just go like that. And the thing they said again and again is never have the illusion that you understand or that you have gotten everything that there is to get. That is it. Never ever have that illusion. Because of the environment, because of the presence, there's an horror in the room, and there's so much energy coming for and all of that. Sometimes we may think that, oh yes, now let me go and fly, just like that. They told me the first thing you need to do immediately after the HMT, create time for solitude. Many of them said again and again that you listen between 200 to 300 of Dr. Sunday's messages in that solitude. I was a student, but I did it. And since that time, I created a constant, it became a lifestyle for me, monthly solitude. And of course, I would watch Dr. Sunday do this again and again every month, go into solitude, not talking, just being by himself, studying and praying and all of that. And it's been amazing. It's been amazing. The success that came here in 2014 in April is dead and forgotten. And it will never resurrect. This is a new me. This is a new life. So I'm hoping that every one of us standing from all this platform, as we go from today, will create that time to really immerse all of these things into ourselves, to soak. The Bible says, faith cometh by hearing the word of God. So we got to hear again and 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 again until we eventually become. I don't know if I'm making a point there. So that we become, you practically look at one thing that Dr. Sunday, and you see the way he does his things, you see the way he talks, you see the way. I asked him in the first HMT that, you're just so different from everybody. You're just so, and he told me, he said, all of these things that is in the Bible, that is in the scriptures, we all read them, we all have access to them every day. It's the same Bible that we read is the same Bible that he reads, that everyone reads. He said, but you read them. He said, I believe them and I've become them. So you read that no weapon formed against me shall prosper, and we all read all of those things every day. But we still believe in witches. We still believe in all. He said, no, I don't just, he said, I believe them. He said, when God tells me to move, I move. And that is it. I take action on the word because I believe them and I've become it. So it is about becoming, it is about these things becoming flesh inside of us, that each of us is a great nation and any of us can transform the world. And there's nothing that is stopping us. He used to tell us again and again, he often says it, that look, if I could, from a village of just 40 houses, very poor, no background, no mother, no father, no nothing, I could have become. He said, imagine that all that you can become with all the opportunities that you have right now. And so nothing can stop any of us. Is that, have I made a point? Yes. Are we starting on something good? All right, so the thing we are going to now do is that for all of the things that have been going on in our mind this week, there must have been a lot of transformation. And I believe that vision, we're going to be talking about vision this afternoon. I believe that vision has been born in our heart. You're beginning to see new dimensions, new things. So I just want us to just play a little game, and I want all of us to participate in it. With all of the things that we have heard this week, I want you to imagine 2 years from now, let's just say 2 years from now, you coming back to HMT, and you standing on this place, and you saying, this is me. This is what I am beginning to do. This is the way I'm changing the world right now. I don't know if you understand. So we all are going to participate in this game. I want you to just, for a moment, because the end product of all knowledge, of all information should be vision. If you're getting information, if you get acquiring knowledge and it's not betting vision inside of you, it's actually a waste. It's not necessary. So I was suppressed by culture, by religion, everything had battered me. And I was just totally gone. I was very rebellious inside of me, very, you know, I'd been broken by the system. I didn't want to have anything to do with God. I told Dr. Sunday that when I came here, it was just, if I had come here and things had failed in that HMT, I wasn't going to have anything to do with God again. And I meant it. But that gave me hope. That gave me understanding for life again. I began to see things in a new perspective. So I just want us to go 2 years by vision, based on all of what you have heard. And you'll be able to come here and declare and say, 2 years from, oh, no, let's not even say, you are going to talk like, this is who I am, and this is the way. I'm changing the word. I don't know if you are making a point. So you are going to talk like you are already doing it. You have become it. And so I don't know. Who wants to go first for us?
My name is Matilda from Thunder Bay, Canada, Sierra Leonean descent. I used to be a shy person. I used to be intimidated. Living here, I'm not going to be intimidated anymore. Thunder Bay is going to be a transformed nation. The suicide rate there is going to drop. Okay, got it. Thunder Bay is a free city. No more suicide. No more people living on the system. No more addiction. Everybody believed in God in that city. Everybody was on fire for that city. For Sierra Leone, the youth, they are people. They are for the kingdom of God. Sierra Leone is free. No more corruption. No more poverty. Wow. Educational system is on the top. Healthcare system on the top. Everybody is living first class. That's what I got.
Thank you. Please, let's put our hands together. Thank you. Somebody wants to go next? Anybody? Let's make it fun.
They are going, taking over all influence spheres in society. I see them in media, I see them in politics, I see them in business, I see them everywhere. I'm going to make sure that it will happen.
Yeah, my name is Christian. January 2018, I came to HMT for the very first time. And I had a mind transformation. And God gave me visions of things to do. Today, by God's grace, I've been able to help over 1,000 orphans to go through school. I've put them through in their education. I've been able, by God's grace, to rescue thousands of homeless from the streets of London and also from the streets of Nigeria. But not only that, I've reached hundreds and hundreds of thousands of youth throughout Nigeria, and encouraging them and motivating them and inspiring them to discover their purpose in life. And God has also opportuned me to be advisors, to be an advisor of leaders in politics, in business, leaders in religion. I've reached my community, I've reached my state, and I've also reached my country. I came here confused. I came here with so many questions that nobody was able to answer. But I got my answers when I came. And God gave me an unusual boldness that I never knew I had. And with that boldness, I stepped out by faith. And I know that the coming years, God is going to use me to do great things, not only for my nation, but for the world.
Amen.
Thank you.
My name is Abiola Olojo. 2016, November 2016, I had a very bad experience of my life, shock of my life, because I believe that I know God and that no evil will ever come near me. But 2016, something actually happened that was scary, and I just wanted help. But I couldn't get from anywhere. You know, I know people might be saying, oh, with all the support, I had very good support from my church member. It was awesome, but it didn't satisfy me because of what happened. So I was just looking for help, shelter, coverage. I was just looking for God. So, by God's grace, I was able to encounter Pastor Sunday Adelaja, and I, listened to some of, especially this topic on Miles Monroe, which God used. And I was, I found joy. I've said that several times. I said that the last time too. I found joy when I listened to that tape. So since then, I know my life is taking another direction. So that last year, the first HMT that I came, I knew that something has happened, that God is giving me a ministry. That what happened was for a reason, for, God taking me to another level. So I couldn't listen or to be held back by nobody. I didn't want to listen to nobody, but just to go and do what I've been called into. So with that determination, come 2020, I'm seeing women, especially widows, being restored. I see their children going to school without fear, because those are the things that I passed through. I was fearful, how are these kids going to graduate? So that is what I'm going to, for me to be able to do it in my own life, I want to do it for people. What I know how to do, I know that it has passed, I'm greater than whatever problem it is. So I'm running into the problem to solve it so that it will be easy for me to solve mine. And in 2020, I'm seeing those people's, the widows' children going to school, graduating without any problem. I'm seeing all those kids, orphans on the streets, or all those kids out of school on the street in Nigeria, most especially, going to school. As many as, God is able to allow me. So that is what I have right now. But if, as the calling is, whatever is on the way, that I know that it's a problem in that country, Nigeria, that I can attend to, I am going to jump on it and solve it. And that's where I am right now.
Hello, everybody. My name is Yemi. Since my first HMT in April 2018, by the grace of God, my life has become a ground and a pillar of truth. And I started to establish truth in different areas in my personal life, my personal lifestyle, my family, and my at school, university, and I started to establish truth by all the area of my life, in the music, in the field of music, in the field of scientific field, and also I'm about now this year in 2020, I'm about to conquer my country in the political field also. And just the beginning.
Wow.
Thank you. Next person. Anybody else? Okay, all right. So, do we have anyone coming again? Oh, all right.
I had to write it down, so I picked the right words to use. Today is sometime in January 2020, and this is what I would say from that day. I have built new school blocks and renovated several abandoned school blocks in the north for the forgotten students in Nigeria. I partnered with educational NGOs to create a curriculum to convert DSA's books into school materials to teach students on values. I have been able to help several substance abuse students to see the value in themselves and to fill the void in their heart. Those three statements, I will say it in January 2018.
Thank you so much. Who's coming next?
I don't know what was being said, but I suppose it's maybe what our vision is or what we've gained 2 years from now. Okay. Wow. 2 years from now, as a group, I'll be part of this group that will be challenging each other. What have you read? What are you doing? As an individual, wow, I will be flying. Supporting schools, from London to Nigeria to Ukraine, to Cote d'Ivoire to Finland, and yes, that's it for now.
Thank you so much.
My expectation in 2 years from now, I have problem with relationship, and I'll be a counselor. For battered women, I'll be a counselor because I know about being battered as a woman, about being abused as a woman. Now I will embark on that area because it's not only gonna be lectured to me, it's gonna be a part of my life where I can have empathy to other women in society and other young people also that are being battered, and they rather to cut their risk or to take marijuana or to switch their sex to say they're a butch, we call them in New York. They want to be a man instead of a woman. To abuse another woman, because people do not understand the psyche behind it. When a woman wants to be a man, why you want to be a man? Yes, I'm living that in America, where somebody say they're a butch, but they've been abused. So they psych it back to abuse another woman to satisfy themselves. That can be managed because nobody never born being gay or lesbian. And I'm facing it because I have power in me to face the world, to bring the change, whether it's Jamaica, America, around the world. I will embark in that aspect. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hello, my name is Grace J. Esomchi. Oh, this is one of the scariest things I'm about to do, because I'm a woman of my own words. I don't take decision quickly, but when I do, I don't turn back. So, this is April 2020. Can you imagine? Congratulations, guys. Wow. You're back on Train the Trainer events this time. Hallelujah. Please give me a high five. Hallelujah. Whoa. Can you imagine? It's just been 24 months. Yes. And God, see how far the Lord has brought us. My goodness. See, few weeks before April 2018, I was facing a dilemma. I'd come to a point wherein I said, God, is it that we sweep deep down to the deepest part of this truth ocean, or I go back? It's as good as that. But I felt in my spirit it was time to go back to Ukraine and get more revelations of the truth. Twice my ticket, I couldn't make it. I had to just pay for the flight for that day. It was not the most easiest decision, but I just took it. And I came, there is a river somewhere, and your last energy. God, if I could only get down. And this time, scoop, drink. That was how it was for me 2 years ago. I came, and before I came, I'd had an encounter with a homeless guy. He's Romanian. He doesn't speak English. I was like, God. But I knew God organized that situation. But I didn't even know what to do. I said, me, Romania. You see all these people now, when they see a boy in my car, they go start to think something where they are not know. But anyway, I followed God, took him, and it all started. By the time I went for that Ukraine program, I now knew why it was like that. Guess what? I bought the package. I came back, I thought, let me just start one small group and teach them. Maybe they will even understand. Like joke. Fire! Before you could say Jack Robinson, we had a group of 12. Yes. They called me to Black Rock. I started another group. They called me to Cork. I said, me, Cork. I went there. I started another group. Before you know it, I was raising leaders. Before you know it, leaders were raising leaders. I had to go back and call DSA. I don't know. See me, I only started small, Now the thing is catching fire everywhere, Ha! And before you could say it, that DSA thing is contagious. See me, black woman. I'm now changing nation. Imagine, organizing my own HMT. You know, there were some group of people I saw from Canada that time. I invited them. I saw one pastor from France. I invited him. I said, come and preach. That thing you learned, come and teach others. I saw some French-speaking people I invited one brother like that. I said, come and teach them in French. Huh? I saw some another group there. They were speaking Fini. I said, I know somebody that will help you. That's how we started. Like joke. We have covered Ireland. We are moving forward. And guess what? They invited me to come and make a speech at the United Nations. See me see trouble. See me see trouble. That's why Jesus said, you only need but a mustard seed. Start somewhere. Even your mistake, God will convert it. Even the bad English, God will convert it. Even your weakness, God will strengthen it. Everything, God will work it together for good. And guess what? This time I'm no longer a student. I came to train trainers. You can't imagine. Apart from that, I started by saying, let me take one of DSA's book, Civilization. Where's that book? Where's that book on civilization? Give it to me. Give it to me. I took this book. I said, because I personally told my daughters, if you marry a black man, I will deal with you from the grave, sir. But I took this one, converted it into a curriculum. I taught them. They brought their friends. They taught their friends.
All right. Thank you so much. Do we have more people? One, sir, please. If you want to come, please come. But while the next person comes, I just want us to cast our mind back to an event just about 2,000 years ago. And there was a young man on the streets of Bethlehem, or, Palestine at that time, who said, I'm going to change the world. I'm going to save the world. And you know what? He had just 12. He had a fisherman behind him, a tax collector. He had, just all of these people that you wouldn't take them seriously. They were just grown men walking around the street every day. But the young man said, he was less than 30 years old. I said, look, I've come to save that which was lost. I'm going to save the entire world. And you are asking him, look, there are 7 continents in the world. You only have Palestinians around you. How are you going to go to Africa? How are you going to go to Europe? How are you going to go to Asia? At least if you want to save the world, try and travel a little bit but he did do all of that. So it must have sounded like it was a joke. I don't know if you understand. Because we're talking about vision, and this is what vision is. Vision is made up of unreal stuff. A visionary lies to himself. The rest of the world lies to other people. So you have to first of all understand. You have to go first of all, cast your mind to the future. That was what Jesus Christ did 2,000 years ago. What we call the finished work of Christ, what we call the kingdom of God extending all over the world today, wasn't there. But look at what it has done today. Look at what it has become. And that is what is possible in the inside of every one of us. Because while you are saying it, while you are saying all of these things, casting your mind to the future, there's going to be a side of you that will be like, are you really sure? Is it really? But trust me, that which you have said will surely come to pass. Because that is what. So we have to first of all cast our mind. You have to first of all be able to stand on this pedestal based on the information, based on all of the insight that you have, and be able to say, look, all of this is betting something inside of me. I feel something. I feel like in a few years from now, there's not going to be any street children again on the street of Lagos. I feel like our young people are no longer going to be in drugs. I feel like all of the broken marriages are going to be restored. All of those things. So when you have such a vision, It is when, it is at that point in time that you actually become alive. That is the first time that a man is born. Because we have already the book this week, a visionless life is what? Is a meaningless life. Except a man has vision, he is not even alive, he is dead. So do we have maybe a few people more, or one or two people more before we go to the topic today? I think it's going to be hot in here this afternoon. So, do you have? All right. If no other persons want to speak, you want to.
Thank you all. This is a real revelation progressing in my life. I want to start by saying, who am I? I've not read the book anyway, but I know I am a person who have the flair for people who are underprivileged. And I've not said this before. I think I started something in a minor way back in Nigeria in a village. And the village is called Idomila. And for your information, I'm not from Idomila. I never know Pastor Sunday before. But when I started the program, even without hearing of HMT or anything, I think temporarily it stopped. But I was asking God, after spending all this money, after painting, renovating, and doing all sorts of things, but all along the line, God was reassuring me that you are in a training school. So when I came here and God said something within me, I had that conviction that I'm going to connect you with somebody or people from this very environment as well. I never knew Pastor Sunday then. So when it comes to that stage, I said, okay, God, I'm ready for the training. And from now on till 2020, I think I'm seeing myself as somebody who people will come all over the world to say, oh, I was this, but now I am not this again. I was sick, I was afflicted with this and that, I am no more. And for the fact that Dr. Success was talking about health yesterday, that we have to deal with it in 5 areas. That is promotion, prevention, treatment, rehabilitation, and then the palliative aspect. I can say that truly, it said many of the doctors will be wiped away, not intentionally, but because people are getting healed and then, the gospel is being propagated. It then means that those who are well need no physician, but those who are healed. So I am seeing our people being delivered from various afflictions because of this, and I can see myself participating in this very act. And apart from that, the issue of the rehabilitation has really, brightened my eyes, that so people can become so tamed. People who have been aggressive, drinking and, smoking and things like that, they can become so tamed when I saw those people. So I'm viewing people in Nigeria, the alcoholic, drug addicts, and all these things. So I can say that I am seeing Nigeria, my community, my environment in 2020, that there will be no thieves again, that there will be no burglars again, and that there will be no armed robber, if at all, it will be lessened. And I know this is possible by affecting the lives of these people. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you. That is vision. That is visionary. You want to say something to say? Yeah. Okay. So that is what the future is made of. That is what vision is about. That is what it's becoming a visionary. All of these people that we see here today, Winston Churchill, Martin Luther King, Mother Teresa, all of them, that is what it's about. We first of all have to see the future before we can become it. And this is about building a nation. Each of us becoming, I think one of the books we also use this week is becoming the Abraham of your nation, or is that, becoming the Abraham of your nation. When the first time I had Dr. Sunday talk on that, it bettered something very, very seriously inside of me. Very, very serious. Because God has mandated each of us to be the father of a nation. And that is what we are going to talk about this afternoon. So this afternoon we want to talk about a meaningless nation, or a visionless nation is a meaningless nation. A visionless nation is a meaningless nation. I want us to, it's going to be very, very interactive. I'm going to need all of our contributions. So I'm going to need us to be very active to participate. Am I still visible? Because I'm very dark. Okay. I'm a very really dark and beautiful. Yes, it's good. So a visionless nation is a meaningless nation. This, of course, is born from the book that we read this week. A visionless life is a meaningless life. How many of us enjoyed that book? Yeah. I think it's a very powerful book, extremely powerful book. So now we are talking about it just as a visionless life is a meaningless life, so also a visionless nation is a meaningless nation. So we also are going to talk about how to establish a nation. How many of us actually know that, of course, through this we've been told again and again that we can establish a nation. Each of us can actually establish a nation. Do you know that for every country in the world, so-called, certain people got together to say that at this point in time that we want to have this nation. We want to have this country. So, how to establish a nation through the power of vision. And of course, that was the thing I was talking about earlier, that I said that the end product of knowledge must always be vision. Any knowledge at all that we acquire that is not betting vision inside of us is a waste. So many people are full of information, rema, and all of those things. But except it's betting a vision inside of you. I don't know if you got it. Yeah. God told Abraham, he said, come out in the dark, look at the skies. God wanted him to see something. He said, as the stars are in the sky, so shall your descendants be. God was showing him something. God was betting vision in his mind, inside of him. So that was necessary. That information was necessary when he decided to leave his father's house. So we must be able to have vision through topics that we have heard this week, becoming civilized, becoming a civilized personality, through building a civilized nation through the 10 Commandments and all of those topics. The essence of every one of those teachings is to be able to do what for us? Is to be able to bet a vision. So as we are listening to DSA again and again, if there's a teaching, you are going to always listen again and again from DSA. You are going to hear like a million times from DSA is the power of conversion. And let me tell you the difference between religion and relationship, really. Between religion and life. Religion dwells so much on information. It's always about new rema, new information. What did you have in your quiet time this morning? I wrote 5 pages. All of those things. And, so much stuff, right? But tell them about the conversion of it. No application. So that is why the religious nations are always the poorest of nations. I dare you to do it because I've done it. Go to the most religious nations on earth. Philippines, Somalia, and what do you call them? What do you call these countries? All of these poor, most religious nations. And then check out the poorest countries also on earth. It's like they just tally. It's just, So there's a line that you can practically draw between religion and what? And poverty. And you now understand what the problem is. Because they fail to convert knowledge into what? Into vision. So if we also, HMT participants, are not going to become religious like them, we have to understand how to quickly convert all of what we have heard this week. Every teaching that is coming forth has to be about what? Vision. Has to be about vision. For example, this morning we're listening to DSC talking about how we have been placed above principalities and powers and all of that. Has to quickly bet a vision inside of you. Is it that I'm going to help more people? No, my continent. Oh, my continent is going to be free from superstitious belief, from mysticism and all of that. Whatever thing it is, something has to quickly be born in the inside. So now we have to define what a vision, what a nation is. The first thing for us to do is to make a definition. Sorry, is it okay? Just tell me where to stand and I will. Yeah, is it okay? Sorry, I tend to move a lot. Okay. So we have to define what a nation is. This is the dictionary. If you look into the dictionary, and of course what is often believed is also on Wikipedia, they say that a nation is a large body of people, and this is where I'm going to need all of our contributions. So we have to deliberate on this. Say a nation is a large body of people united by common ancestry, common history, common culture, common language, inhabiting a particular state or a defined territory. The one in brackets is mine. Don't worry, that one is not part of the dictionary. So we have common ancestry, common history. This is a nation. Okay, sorry. Okay. So, is it okay? Okay. So, united by common ancestry, common history, common culture, common language, common inhabiting a particular state or defined territory. Okay. So I have a big question because this was the initial confusion. If this is the definition, the accepted definition of a nation, then let's take Nigeria, for example. Is it a nation? Do we have a common ancestry? Like just using, I'm going to use like Nigeria as an example, or even let's use the United States of America as an example. Is there a common ancestry? Is there a common history?
Yes. No.
The Igbos will say we are from, the Yorubas will say we are from, the Hausas will say we are from. Is there a common ancestry? A common history? Is there a common culture? Is there a common language?
No.
Okay, let's even agree that we are in a defined. So that becomes a big problem, don't you think?
Yes. Not really.
Okay, so you want to say something? This is going to be interesting. I always like to start debates, you know. Yes.
On the point of saying for common function, the function come in a common way is that we all say the same thing, we all will dance the same way. I'm very dramatic, so understand me in that fashion, to say that something that is common is like everybody know how to dance, but some people have special way of dancing and it's within the culture. We have Spanish we have Hebrew in America, we have Spanish, we have Italian, we have different many Creole from Haiti. We have a lot of different people. We don't have common things. We eat food that is common. We need a light to live in our household or what, that's common. But then we can come common by learning from each other. And, you know, come diverse to come together.
Thank you so much. You're already talking about one of Pastor's book that is coming very soon out is called The Beauty of Nigeria's Diversity. And that is the point, bringing different things together into same pots. Yeah. So, but as it were, you really have to look at it on the surface. So if people they have to have same ancestry, same history, same culture, same language, they have to, have same language and all of that, then the problem is that maybe countries are really not nations. Maybe. But you know what? What actually makes a country a nation is the unifying vision. of that country. If the country does not have a unifying vision, it is a meaningless country. Maybe let me try and take that slowly, maybe a little bit again. That what unifies, what makes a country a nation is the unifying what? Vision. Because it is vision that is going to give us a common ancestry. We are going to find our common ancestry in vision. We are going to find our common history in vision. We are going to find our common culture. It is vision that is going to give all of us a common what? Culture. So if we say, for example, in our country, we don't litter the ground. We don't destroy the environment because of the unifying vision. It is that vision that gives us what? A common culture. That is what everybody begins to abide with. Am I making a point? Yes. So without a vision now, if the vision of a country is not quickly established, then it becomes a meaningless country. And that is why we have a lot of meaningless countries. Am I making a point? Yes. All right. So now, I said a nation is born when there is a collective binding of a unified vision. If we cannot define what the vision is, then there is no nation, no matter how big the country is. A country could be 200 million people, 250 million people, 300 million people, a billion people like China and India and all of that. If there is no unifying vision, if there is no burning vision for that country that every citizen can key into and say this is what we are becoming, then it is going to always be a meaningless country. And we have so many examples of that. Maybe someone can give us an example. Meaningless country. I didn't say that. So it seems that the first thing, one of the earliest things that we must set to about any country has to be what? The vision of that country. And that's where I suggest the book. And please, what's the title of that book again? Discovering the Calling and Purpose of Nations. Very, very important, because every nation was born as a result of vision. Vision was what gave birth to every nation. First of all, you will always find it in the heart of the founding fathers of the nation. They understood why they came upon, where they came apart. Let me give you an example. For example, in the United States, the founding fathers made a decree. They make a code which said that we believe, right, that all men are created equal, right? And they've been bestowed certain inalienable rights. Among them is the right to life, to liberty, and to pursuit of happiness. So all men are created equal. That is the vision. That is what we are going to always pursue. We are diverse. We have so many states, so many people. But all men in America will always be what? Equal. But look at America today. They have moved away from that earliest vision of the founding fathers, and that is why there will always be problem and chaos. Because until they return back to the original vision, there will not be a binding force. So it's the tie that is binding the country has become loose and apart. Am I making a point? Yes. Let's take another country, Nigeria, definitely. One of the things, if for example, in our, let's say our national anthem, you always say, we serve with heart and might, with unity and faith. The always thing about the common thing you always find, either in the pledge or in the logo or in the anthem of Nigeria, will always be unity and service. Unity and service. Unity. You know why they're emphasizing unity? Because they understand the diverse. Nigeria has over 500 languages being spoken. More than 250 ethnic groups, tribes, and all of that. But the founding fathers understood something, that the purpose of this nation is we want to demonstrate what? Unity. Right? Unity and service to the world. Unity. But look at Nigeria today. Look at how far we have moved away. You are Igbo, I'm Hausa, you are Yoruba. Even among the Yorubas, we still say you are Ijebu, Ijesha. Even among the Ijesha, you still be, you are downtown, I'm uptown. You are Isaleoko. Yes, Aleku and mainland. Say that because we moved away from what? The vision of the founding fathers, and the country will always fall apart when we are out of the vision of the founding fathers, of the earliest vision. One of the biggest events that ever happened in the world, of course, even bigger than many World Cups that have happened, is Festac 77. You can read about Festac 77. The entire black race in the world came to Lagos, Nigeria, to celebrate common ancestry of the black race. Why Nigeria? Unity and vision. You needed to see how Nigeria gave host to the entire world. Unity, you are our brother. We accept you. We love one another. You know, and at that point in time, notice when in 1977 was the period of some of the best periods in Nigeria. At that point in time, 1 naira was bigger than the dollars and the pounds. Because of unifying what? Vision. So, for Nigeria to be great, for us to be who we are called to be, it has to be what? I advise us, of course, get that book coming soon, The Beauty of Nigeria's Diversity by Dr. Sunday Adelaja. You know, until we go back to that unifying vision, we are going to be a meaningless country. Until we begin to accept one another, that it doesn't matter whether you are from the east or from the west or from the... All of those things don't used to matter before to Nigerians. Those things never mattered. Those things were non-issues. But all of a sudden now they become real issues. People didn't even know that their neighbor was Fulani before. Or for the first time in my life, maybe this year or last year, I began to hear that there was something like Fulani herdsmen. Initially I was thinking, are they a new group of people? Or where did they come from? But we've always had Fulani herdsmen all through the years, isn't it? That's been the lifestyle. They've always been there. But all of a sudden, somebody just arose our consciousness, and the whole nation began to fight again on all of that. It could be religion. It could be ethnicity. It could be tribalism. It could be whatever thing. A visionless country will always be what? A meaningless country. A visionless nation will always be a meaningless nation. That's what that definition is saying to us. I don't know if we got it. Somebody wants to make a comment on that before? Does that make a lot of meaning? Okay. Then another thing, and I want us to pay very careful attention to this next one, is going to affect all of us. That a nation, another implication of the definition is that a nation is not just a country. A nation involves all. What is that definition? Let's look at it. Common ancestry, common history, common culture, common language, inhabiting a particular state or defined territory. Now, let me give an example. Let's say, for example, let's use the example of drug addiction. Or let's first of all use the example of being a medical doctor. Doctor. Do doctors have a common ancestry or not? Medicine. I like debate. The first topic you learn in medical school is the history of medicine. Yes. They will tell you how the profession began, how it all began, the history. Common ancestry, common history, right? Do we have a common culture? Is that something that you always see doctors do? Oh, great. Is that a common language? There are certain things, medical terminologies. Two doctors can be talking for 1 hour, you may not understand what they're talking about, right? That talks about what? Common language. Great. Do they inhabit a particular territory? Is there a place you can always find doctors? So are doctors nations or not? So why will somebody say, until you come to the church, you can't be... You're not a nation, or... Okay, let's look at drug addicts, those who are into addiction. Do they have a common ancestry? Is there a way that this thing began? A pattern in which they began to take drugs? Okay, great. Is there a common history for them? Do they have a common culture? Are there things that drug addicts constantly do? Great. Do they have a common language? Is there a thing they... Okay, drug addicts, do they have a defined territory where you can always find them? So are they a nation or not? Ooh. So somebody can actually get vision for that nation. So I think we should rather even begin to call them a nation. So that I'm having the nation of what? The drug addict. Okay, homeless people. Let's look at it. Is there a common ancestry? Is there a way the... Huh? Homeless people. Okay. Do you have a common history? Is there a common culture for them? Okay, what of common language? Is there something they constantly... Right? Okay. Do they have a place where you always find them? It's getting interesting, yeah? So what nation have you been called onto? All of this week we've been hearing nation and nation and nation. And sometimes some of us will be wondering, but about the whole country, the whole Nigeria, the whole... Some of us have been called to that, no doubt. But some of us also have been called to the nation of homeless people, of the addicts, of suicide, prone people, and all of that. Are we making some meaning? Yes. So should we continue? Yes. So remember, what we are talking about is a visionless nation is what? Is a meaningless nation. So the first thing is that you must develop a vision for that nation. Yes, and say, because of this, I have a vision for all of the addicts in my country. And this is going to be, henceforth, this is going to be what is going to happen to this nation. A single man, do you know that a single man can actually determine that? Read the book, Becoming the Abraham of your nation. That a single man will say, henceforth, this is what is going to be for this nation, and it will be. One small man in India many years ago, I don't know if he was taller than me, he should have been something of my height, declared that, look, I see the vision of a free India. You need to read the history of Mahatma Gandhi. You will be shocked. You'll be very, very surprised. And a single man, young man, sorry, not young, definitely, short man like myself, brought an entire nation out of slavery. In South Africa, many years after, another man had a vision and says, I have the vision of an apartheid-free South Africa. Nelson Mandela. And did that come to pass or not? Yes. Okay, in America, years after or years before, a man said, I see a vision of equality among the black and the white in this nation. And did that come to pass or not? So it seems that all that heaven is always waiting for is a man to have a vision of a nation. And one man can just say, henceforth, this is what is going to be like in this nation, in this field, in this endeavor. And do you know what? Heaven is not going to say no. I feel like someone should respond or someone should make a comment. Anybody? Or we should continue. All right. So, addicts, that is a nation. Children, that is a nation. Right? Women, that is what? A nation. Anything that has a common culture, common language, common history, common ancestry, defined territory, you can't always find these people somewhere. That is a nation. Develop, get a vision for that nation. And we can establish a nation once the vision is defined. So every one of us can actually start our own nation. That is what it means. With vision, vision gives you that capacity, that ability to be able to define a nation. You can create a nation and become the father and say, this is the nation that I gave birth to. Are you getting it? Yes. So any day, a man can decide and say, I'm betting a vision. You will have an anthem for your nation. You will have a logo for your nation. You will have a brand for your nation. You will register your nation. I don't know. Are we getting the point? So every one of us has been called to be the father of a particular nation. By vision, each of us must bet a nation. None of us must leave history makers training without betting a nation. So one of the greatest things from leaving HMT is going back to your country and saying, I have become the father of this particular nation, and I'm going to build it into a civilized nation. I'm going to become the father of a nation that henceforth nobody is going to die by road accident again on the streets. I have become the father of a nation that henceforth no child will go to bed hungry, will die of hunger again or malnourishment. How to what? Through the power of vision. Is it possible or not? Is it very possible or not? Can we all do it or not? I think if a man is not doing it, it's doable. Is it practicable or not? So if somebody chooses not to be the father of a nation, I think it's by choice. You just decided to, I don't want to. I just want to be meaningless. I just want to be useless. I just don't want to make any impact. I just want to. It's unfortunate that perhaps maybe 95% or more than 95% of the world is living a visionless life. How many people do you think have bettered a nation by through vision like this? So a lot of people don't even understand that they can give birth to a nation. They don't understand how to bet a nation or that they can have a nation registered. For many people, you know what they are doing with all their life? Supporting another man's what? Nation, vision. Just, come on Friday, come on Monday, come on Wednesday. NIVG, we are there. Give this one. Give your salary. Donate your blood and all of that. You say that. But whereas, imagine that those that God has himself called to be fathers of a nation, they have lent themselves out as citizens of another country. Borrowed themselves. That was what the Bible talked of the prodigal son. He borrowed himself away as a citizen of another country. The one that is meant to be the father of a nation was meant to be the Lord of his father's house. And we are just slaving away. Well, let's continue. Maybe we could reach some ground. So please, let's not forget that definition, right? Where is it again? Please, let's not forget this. I think it's going to change a lot of our understanding and our nation too. So now let me ask, are all countries nations from this understanding? Are all countries in the world nations? Let's look at it again. Are all countries nations? Is it every country that has a vision, that has a burning vision? Even though they were born by vision, but many of them have walked away, isn't it? So currently now, not all countries are nations. For what reason? Lack of vision. Now, are all nations countries? Is it every nation that is a country? It's also no, right? Because it's not every nation that is Nigeria, Japan, China. We also have nations that are called what? Give me examples of them. Addicts. Yes. Women, doctors, nurses, orphans, homeless, lawyers, nurses, name them. Depressed people, people going through depression, people going to religious people. That is my nation. Religious and ignorant. And deliver them. That is it. After that, yes. All sorts of things that people are going through. Remember that scripture that DSA read for us this week. Please, let's not forget it. That the endless expectation of creation waits for manifestation of this. The Bible says that the creation groans. The creation is groaning. There are people that are saying, oh God, oh God. Oh, every day crying out to God. Where is our Savior? Where is our deliverer? Where is our champion? Where is it that will come for us? Every day, every blessed day, people are groaning just for you and I to show up. All they are just waiting for is that we just show. All that they need is just for us to just stand up and to just show up. Yesterday I was watching the speech by Malala, the young lady who won the Nobel Prize for. And even before I came in, it was just podcast I was listening to again, and she said the Taliban in Pakistan at that time told them that no girl should go to school. So they outlawed girl education. And she said, who are they to take away the right to my education? And she began, you know what she began with? She began to write articles for BBC. She wasn't using her name then because, they were concerned for her security. So she was writing under a pen name, writing for BBC about girl education, the right to girl education, the fact that many girls, she was raising a concern for the world. At that time, who knew Malala? Who knew her? But she kept writing. Girls are no longer coming to school. Taliban are scaring these girls away. We have a right to education and all of that. She began, to raise her voice. And one day they showed up and shot her in the head. The bullet passed through the head into her shoulder. And then they did the operation and she was successful. And when she came out, she became she kept championing global voice for young girls. Every girl must go to school. And she became a Nobel Peace Prize winner. And she said, I'm donating all of this money to build schools for girls around the world. How old was she? 17 years old. 17. So all that is needed sometimes is just for us to speak up, to just show up, for you to just begin to, for that nation. Your nation is, there are children that are saying, if only somebody will just speak up for us. If somebody will just write for us. If somebody will just go to parliament for us. If somebody will just advocate. Are we going to show up or not? Are we going to use vision to show up or not? With the power of vision, we must show up. The nations are waiting. So vision, as I said before, vision-bettered nations, every nation on earth is or was a product of vision. The problem they have is that they walked away from what? From the vision. So I said the most essential, would you agree with me if I say now that the most essential part of any nation, therefore, is the what? Is the vision that bore it, isn't it? The most essential part of any is the vision that bore it. When so-called people say the church was born in the Act of the Apostles and on the day of Pentecost and things like that, and of course we read the story of the church of the Act of the Apostles, that was the vision that bore it. But over time, what happened to that vision? Moved away from the vision, and look at what the church has become today, like a marketplace. So the most essential part of any nation, the nation is not as important as the vision. The vision must always be the thing that, even for family, every family must be born. One of the things we read in A Visionless Life, A Meaningless Life, is the fact that vision is what must bet a family, must be what bet a children. So this is it. God told Abraham, I know Abraham, that he will do what? He will command his children, right? He's going to pass on what? The vision to his children, right? He will pass it on. So now the problem comes when there are families that are existing, first generation, second generation, third generation, but what? Without a visionless family is also what? I read the story of the Rockefeller family, 100 years of sustainable wealth and philanthropy, immense wealth and billions of dollars every year. And the guy that gave the interview is David Rockefeller. And they were asking him, have your family been able to do it? Because in every other place in the world, no family has been able to sustain wealth for 3 generations. None. But your family has been able, for several generations, over 100 years, you have been able to sustain wealth. I said it's simple. We get together constantly and we remind ourselves the essence of the Rockefeller family. Check out for that on Business Insider, that interview. We just get together and we remind ourselves, this is why we exist. Philanthropy, we must do good, we must give back, we must constantly help the society. Talk about their vision, that is their own nation. So, vision bets nations, and the most essential part of the nation is what? Is the vision. Please, anytime you want to make a contribution, constantly feel free to come contribute. Where there is no vision, we now understand why the Bible says that, right? The people perish. Because rather than for them to exist for unity, you know what they will be doing? They will be doing the exact thing that is against the very thing why they were created. Rather than for them to exist for equality, like in America, they will begin to do extreme capitalism, just beat each other, get better at the expense of that person. Just rather than for you to celebrate togetherness, you want to fight it. No, it's Igbo, I'm Hausa. No, it's Yoruba. No, we don't. The people begin to what? To perish. I put it also in the slide board. Maybe it's a good point for me to share with us. In medicine, there's something that is called autoimmune disease. And autoimmune disease is basically the body fighting itself. Imagine the body begins to fight its own self, begins to kill its own self. It's not even the germs and the bacteria any longer that is helping it. It begins to destroy its own self. That is what many nations or many countries have become, where there is no vision. People begin to perish. The devil does not, all the devil just needs to do is just sit and cross his leg and just watch the show. Yes, sir.
Father, in the name of Jesus, I leave the peace that passeth every understanding, unto every man, every woman, into every homes, in the name of Jesus. I pray the Lord, when next we will meet, when next we will see, it will be for testimonies. Thank you for bringing us together. Blessed be the holy name. In Jesus' mighty name we've prayed.
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. All right. So, all right. Yeah, Irene. So good to see you. All right. Thank you. All right, so let's continue. Let's continue, especially because of our Facebook family. So where there is no vision, the people perish, right? So let's go on. Would you agree also that the crisis of a nation is due to the crisis of vision? Right? The crisis of a nation is due to the crisis of vision. When you see a nation or a country or any establishment or a company that is in crisis, check out for what? For the vision that created it. Isn't it? When Steve Jobs was first CEO of Apple, and then he somehow was evicted from the company that he started, and several years after, they ran into serious trouble. And then he started 2 successful companies, and they invited him to come back. And he came back. You know the simple thing they brought back? It was just the vision of the company. The need for them to constantly be innovative and be ahead of the game. So that was just basically what it brought back to Apple. So it was basically, look, we've got to constantly, we are innovative, we are leaders. We've got to constantly be ahead, So it's always about vision. The vision of the company, of the family, of the whatever nation that there is. Fulfillment and true happiness can only come from aligning to vision. That one is wealthy and prosperous does not mean that it has meaning. That it is big does not mean that it is meaningful. This is another illusion of Africa, because they think once the church is big and people are many and a lot of people and all that it is, if there is no vision, it is what? It is still meaningless. Meaningless. All is meaningless, says the preacher. So a nation may be big, large, and prosperous, but still might be in crisis due to crisis of vision. We'll use America again as an example of that. America currently is a nation in crisis because they went away from the vision of the founding fathers. I put in statistics, 13,286 people killed by firearms alone in 2015. And this was just like the authentic figure I could get. There have been much more worse cases since then. That is according to Gun Violence Archive, and 26,819 people were injured. 60% of all deaths in America is due to gun violence. You can imagine that. People beginning to see themselves as enemy and beginning to fight and that racially motivated police brutality among top 5 problems in America, all kinds of things. That is a nation that was meant to be built on equality, But when we move out of national vision, or of course personal vision, or the vision of your nation, when we move out of it, we move straight. Look, we don't just move out of vision and stay in a neutral ground. No. This is the point I'm trying to establish. Yes. It's always from one extreme to the other extreme. So when we move out of vision, the thing we move straight into? Anti-vision. We begin to fight the vision. And that is one of the strongest things. When we move out of the vision of the church, when we move out of the vision of life, when we move out of vision of family, what do we move straight into? Anti-vision. We begin to fight the very essence of the church, of Christ, of everything, and we begin to destroy ourselves. This is very, very powerful for us to note. Extremely powerful. When a man moves out of the vision of his life, you begin to do what? Fight and destroy yourself. Everything you will think you are going to work for money, for salary. You think you are but what you're actually doing, that money, the salary and all of those things is actually killing the very essence of your life. Everything. In Matthew 25, let's use this story. In Matthew 25, remember the story of the talents, the parable of the talents. And to one he gave 5 talents, and to another he gave 2 talents, yeah? And was it 2 or 2 or 3? 5, 2, and 1. Okay. He gave 5, he gave 2, and he gave 1, right? And then the one with 5 went and traded, right? And got 5 more. The one with 2 traded and got what? 2 more. And the one with 1 said, I am afraid. That was what he said. He said, I was afraid. I knew you were hard, wicked. I was afraid. A lot of us don't want to trade with vision. We don't want to trade for our nation because we are what? Afraid. Now, what happened to him? Did his life just stay in the middle? The master said to him, you are a wicked what? And unprofitable servant. He said, you are cast into what? Outer darkness. That means basically, when the guy was not trading with his talents and everything that he's been given, he thought he was just being neutral. I'm just passive, I'm not. But look at when the master came back. Was his fear tolerated? Was what will people say? What will my people think? People will only say, what about the money? What about the resources? I don't have money. And all of the fear excuses. But when the master came back, none of that mattered. Did he ask him what was the problem? Did he ask him? He didn't ask him what the problem was. So why the servant saw being passive as a good place to stand, the master took it from the other side of where the man was actually was. He was fighting himself. So the master said, you are cast into utter darkness. You are cast into life of pain. You are cast into life of just soft. Do you know a lot of people go, like some people in jobs, in working for money, right? DSA teaches about this a lot, right? 9 to 5 in a job that if they give you one opportunity not to be there for 1 hour, you are not going to be there for 1 hour. But because of money, because of salary, because we just want to, 9 to 5 every day, outer darkness, just pain. That is somebody that should be the creator of companies, that should be the lord of estates, that should have bettered nations. Now you have become a slave, anti-vision. So while you are doing all of those things, suppressing yourself, you know what is happening? You are killing the very vision for which you were created for. So can you imagine, let's say, for example, Abraham walking in the field of the Palestinians, walking in the field and when you ask him, Abraham, what are you doing? And he's saying, I'm trying to get salary for my family. I'm trying to survive. I'm just trying to get by today. I'm just trying to. And God will say to him, are you not called to be what? Father of nations. How dare you, a father of many nations? You are walking against the very vision that I gave to you. I don't know if I'm coming across. Yes. Am I making some meaning? So basically, when we do not act with vision, we move straight into what? Anti-vision. We begin to fight ourselves. We become autoimmune disorder, autoimmune disease. I wish I'm making some point, you know.
Can I share that I understand?
Yes, please.
There is a plan, that which there was a vision, and the business is new creation, quality construction. That's the vision. It was formed on paper. It has its tax information and everything. The vision. But the vision died because of fear, saying that not having the money to pay the staff or to pay the people, and knowing that you get it's not a contract. You get a job from someone and you give them an estimate, and then they would have you put the materials together to repair their house or whatever it is that they need to repair. But if you put your money forward and you start the job, then they start to cry. You don't have money to give the people. Then they said they're mad because you give them work to do. So then we pull back. All that was said, didn't give the people, didn't do anything, and the fear kept you from having this vision come to reality, so it becomes dead. So I use that, which is about myself, to state with you, because everything is together. The license, the tax number, everything. But then my husband and I, we size it up, not even me so much, but my husband is the one with the drawing and the everything to execute it. But then he's saying that they have done this to me already and whatever. So even though I'm pushing, so we could have made it, but because the vision has shifted, then it becomes that.
Thank you so much for sharing. Thank you for sharing. Yes, please.
What just came to my mind is concerning the kingdom. As he was sharing, it just occurred to me that is the reason why Jesus Christ said, if you are not for me, you are against me. If you are not gathering, you are scattering. Meaning, if you are not in line with the vision of the kingdom, it means you are actually fighting against the kingdom. So those who are in church doing religion, they are not, it's not just saying that, oh, they are deceived. And we think, oh, they are ignorant and they are just standing there and they are deceived. No, they are actually fighting Christ. In all their sincerity, they are fighting against the vision of the kingdom.
That was why Jesus Christ, that was why Jesus Christ said about the Pharisees that you won't enter, but you're actually obstructing people from entering because you are fighting the very essence of the kingdom. So there is no, please let's just get this very, very, a lot of us, the greatest enemy of vision is fear. Fear will always want you, oh, what will I eat? What will I wear? What will I drink? How will this happen? What will I, all of those kind of things. And you know what? When you're thinking all of those things, you think, I just want to shift myself to the middle ground. Let me just, let me not act. Let people not know that I'm there. Let people not know that, But when you are actually taking that stand before God, you are actually fighting. You have taken the enemy's side against God, because imagine God sent you as a deliverer to children. All of those children that are daily, so many things happening every day. I get to see some of these very ridiculous things, while walking in the hospital, and you will just not imagine the silliest of things that bring children to the hospital. Yes. You just not imagine. And now, basically, God has sent deliverers. God has sent saviors to them. And because of fear, somebody's, they are caused, maybe like this was talking this morning, they are witches, they are, and all of that. But before God, you have actually taken a position against those children. You are supporting exactly. You're actually killing them. So when God will demand accountability, God will not, or definitely we were not on the side of God, but God will not see us as the middleman. How will God see us? He will rather see that you took a position against me. Lazy and wicked servant. Yes, please, no problem.
Let me bring it home. Inspiration to write a book. But God, this topic, I'm not sure. What would they say? I don't even know a lot. Instead of making steps to go and research. Inspiration to invent a product. Then you step forward and see, now walk day here, oh Jesus. Inspiration to speak against what the church is doing. No, I don't want this GO's problem. So they will say I'm Spiro. Who am I even safe? You think you're this thing is real. Fear is real. Yes, it is. There are so many people from last HMT that God dropped things in their hearts. But because of fear of what husband will say, what wife will say, what somebody will say. Let me come home to myself. There's a book I was inspired to write. I started the research. Mentioned it to somebody. Just one little imposter dream killing injection. Yes. He didn't say anything much, not much. The eye and just one.
Kill it.
The thing started
Dying.
quenching. I don't want to be the wicked servant. This thing is no joke. If you're not for God, you're against God. Father God, I ask for grace. Let's not look it foul. Bring it home. Maybe you have one church, God wants you to expand, or you have one group, God wants you to expand. Bring it home. Bring it home. Bring it home. Because Bible even said it. We have to deny ourselves, deny father, mother, and take up the kingdom. Because when we take it up, he who will come will come. And he who won't come is not for us. They shouldn't come. We have to be bold. God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind.
Thank you so much. So that is extremely, extremely powerful. I hope we all are paying attention. You know.
So there's no end to vision in our life. To me now, it's like I'm created for vision. Created for vision on every second, per second. Keep on writing it down.
Thank you.
Created for.
Yes, we all are created. That is a very powerful title of a book, ma. Maybe you want to consider writing it. You know, that is it. Every man on earth was created for vision. And when you do not pay attention to the vision for which you were created, you move straight. You are moving for what? Anti-vision. So there are a lot of people that are living anti-visionary lives. When we are not living visionary lives, we are actually living what? Anti-visionary lives. We are actually killing the very purpose for which we were created. Please don't forget the autoimmune disorder. I wish I had added a picture of it. You would see when somebody's own body begins to fight him, how they look. And that will give you like the mental picture of many people's life right now. Fighting the very essence for which they were born. You know, one of my best stories about vision is this. Let me tell you that story. There was a man, he lived very long life. You know, I'll just pitch his life maybe about, you read that in the book. You know, I'll just say maybe about 80 years or thereabout. And, you know, it was just about dying. He was laying in the room, dying, you know, from old age and all of that. Very tired old man. And he said while he was laying there, you know, dying, somebody came into the room and began to play very melodiously on the keyboard. very, very melodiously in the room that this man was, the man began to play very lovely music on the keyboard. The man said that in his own words, said that the 10 minutes that this keyboardist played in the room was the best 10 minutes of his life that he had ever heard. That 10 minutes that the man played melodiously was just very lovely. And after about 10 minutes, then the keyboardist began to pack up the instruments and was about leaving the room. And the diamond was begging him and said, please don't go yet. Please, this music is so melodious and beautiful. Please, let us continue. Just keep up. The man said, no, I have to go. That it was a good time being here. I've played the music for you. And he said, no, please continue. And no matter how much he pleaded, this keyboardist wouldn't budge. He was just going to go. So he said, okay, if you are going to go, I have a question for you. Who are you? Who are you that came into my room this 10 minutes and played this beautiful song, melodious music, the best I've ever had in 80 years? And the man said, the keyboardist said to him and said, I am you. I'm supposed to be you. What you saw me do in 10 minutes was what you were supposed to have done all your life. But you never did. A lot of us would rather live pleasing other people. You please parent, please church, please deacon, please brother, please sister. The only one person you refuse to please is yourself and your maker. Living anti-vision. So the man just wrote down that story and he gave up the ghost. What a life. That is why created for vision is a very powerful thing. The only reason why you and I are on earth is not for job, it's not for family, it's not for what else do people live for? It's the only reason why we are living, why we were created. The only one reason is for what? It's for vision. It's for vision. Remove vision from a lifespan, you have just what? Shell. Should we just continue? All right. So, vision is extremely important. Are we beginning to appreciate how important that is now? All right. So I put an example here. There is a situation currently happening in Nigeria, and I needed to also add this as a physician that, in Nigeria currently, when you are about becoming a medical doctor, you are made to take an Hippocratic oath. My patient is always going to be my ultimate priority. I'm always going to care for my patient. All the rules are not the code, and you have to make the swear and pledge and all of those things. Very nice moment. But a few years down the line, the physicians in Nigerians, not adequately paid or some difficult working conditions, something for, all of those things will always be there. Do you know what currently people who have shown that our vision is we are going to live ultimately for the patient. We are going to care for these people. You are expected actually as a physician to care for the patient before money. To care because it's a profession of love and care. They tell you again and again in medical school, if you are here to make money, go into banking or go into some other profession. You are never going to be rich, make a lot of money. You are going to be comfortable, but you are not going to be rich in this. You are here to love, to care. You know what? When it became difficult down the line, 88% of Nigerians began to fled. 88% began. And that is also part of what? Anti the vision for which we exist. So normally it should be about care. It should be about support. But we began to move what? Anti-vision. Okay. I also wrote about, I think we discussed about this already, cynicism in Nigeria, distrust, you are Igbo and Hausa, we don't want to have anything to do together. Whereas the single reason why we exist is to demonstrate the beauty of unity to the world. How 250 ethnic groups can exist in one country, one single country, and we want the entire world to come and look at Nigeria and be wowed and be, wow. Look at these people, so united, so diverse and so united, so beautiful. But today, we have moved what? We are not even passive. We are actually fighting each other. We are actually fighting each other. A land that is blessed by God Nigeria should be the food basket of the world. With our green, white grain, pour your tomato, just rinse some tomatoes and pour them to the back of your house. Tomorrow, next tomorrow, 3 days after, you'll begin to find the growth, right? And I put in a video, if you are able to reach there, a nation in the desert, Israel, with absolutely nothing, they are the one actually now exporting food to the rest of the world. Whereas we that have all the resources, we forgot service. We forgot unity, we forgot service, we forgot how to help, how to plant, how to cultivate. When we move out of vision, we move into what? Anti-vision, and all of these examples we've talked about. Let's look at this little story. Can we play this video and see the story? The emphasis again is when we move out of vision, we move into what? So let's say a nation that moved out of vision, and let's see what happened to them.
In the middle of the Pacific Ocean, there's a tiny island nation called Nauru that spans only about 8 square miles. Not too long ago, it was considered the single richest country in the world per capita. But today, it is one of the world's poorest and most obese nations, and is currently best known to house a detention center that's rampant with human rights abuses. So what's the story behind this island's journey from riches to rags? Well, Nauru's stroke of luck came from its isolated position, which is roughly 1,800 miles northeast of Australia. As one of the only land masses in sight, the island served as a stopping point for seagulls around the Pacific, and on each visit, they do what seagulls seem to do best. After a few million years of being used as a seagull toilet, the accumulating bird poop calcified, imbuing the soil with phosphates, a very valuable and lucrative group of elements. Their most important use is that they help plants capture the sun's energy so that they can grow through photosynthesis, and so phosphates are vital as a component of fertilizer. So when this island gained its independence in 1968, it jumped headfirst into mining and selling its phosphate-rich soil. Between the mid-1970s and the early 1980s, the tiny island nation of roughly 4,300 people had far and away surpassed any oil-rich or technologically advanced country in the world in terms of per capita wealth. Some stats estimate that in modern currency, the island was worth $2.5 billion, or more than $500,000 for every single man, woman, and child. Almost every societal necessity was completely free: education, medical care, and transportation. On top of that, they don't pay a penny in taxes. They didn't have to. So what happened to this rich country? Well, predictably, the phosphate ran out, and the country didn't do a very good job of planning far into the future. As mining became less and less lucrative, the soil, once the most fertile in the world, became totally barren. Little could be grown on the island, and its residents got used to importing all of their food, mostly canned and high in preservatives. In 2011, this unhealthy diet led to Nauru being named the single most obese country in the world. But that was far from the only problem. As the government began running out of money after poor financial planning, they opened the country as an untraceable tax-free banking haven, right around the time that the Soviet Union collapsed. Russian criminal syndicates took advantage of this opportunity to launder tens of billions of dollars through an unregulated financial system, feeding the increasingly corrupt government and draining the country of its resources. In a last-ditch attempt at survival, Nauru reached out to the Australian government, its closest neighboring world power, and worked out a deal on what to do with the 70% uninhabitable island with no source of revenue. And the solution? It wasn't pretty. In the early 2000s, in exchange for Australia's financial support, the island agreed to take a few hundred Sri Lankan and Pakistani refugees, including more than 36 children and several pregnant women, who were attempting to enter Australia by boat. This was called the Pacific Solution, and from then on, when any refugees approached Australia, they were sent to squalid detention centers in Nauru and Papua New Guinea, which had made a similar agreement. Conditions in these detention centers have been likened to a crumbling, poorly run prison, with effectively no possibility for many of its detainees to leave. In fact, in 2007, the situation at the heavily overcrowded facility became so bad that it had to be shut down when they ran out of water. But the detention center reopened in 2012 and is still operating in the same conditions today. So between 1975 and 2017, Nauru went from being the richest country per capita in the world to one of the 5 most impoverished. So just how bad are these detention centers? And why is Australia going to such extreme measures to keep out immigrants and refugees? You can find out in this video to the right. Thanks for watching Now This World, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more episodes.
So can somebody help us make a comment on this in relation to vision? From being the richest to being the poorest, most impoverished within a few years. Just maybe one person can raise a comment on that. Or I should just continue. All right. So we just saw the aftermath of lack of vision. Does not matter. I say it again and again. There is no country in the world that can never be destroyed. There's no country in the world. Dr. Sunday said it again and again in his book, The Death of Nations. There is no country in the world that is failure-proof or that is death-proof. Just remove the support of vision within a little time. Do you think Nauru, how many people have heard of Nauru before? Is this but that was used to be the richest country in the world. Used to be the richest country in the world. Such awaits every nation, every country, and every life without vision. In the visionless life is a meaningless life. The book says that the physical eyes is a burden to a man without vision. You know what that basically means? Every resource that the man has without vision, it will be a burden to him. It will become a problem to him. It begins to fight him. You will think he has money, but he doesn't really have money. That money begins to kill him. You will think he has property. That he doesn't really have property. That is his undoing. That is what will kill him and his children. Because there is no vision. All of this Warren Buffett and Bill Gates and all of them, do you think that it is a fund that they said their children is going to inherit zero wealth? You know the reason why? Because they understand. Except there is a burning vision that can contain all of that money, it will destroy all of those children. So they would rather let the children discover and not destroy them with the wealth. Because the essence of resource, or the essence, like they said, of provision has to always follow what? The vision. So that is the sad story of Nauru. And now let us compare that in relation to another country, side by side. Look at all the wealth and all the resources that had. Now let us compare that in relation to this. 2 nations side by side. This used to be Dubai. This is the story of Dubai. Please, can we pause a little bit? This was Dubai 1991. Okay, you can continue, but maybe you can just reduce the volume, maybe. Okay. This used to be Dubai 1991, and we see it now. 1990, do you see the desert? Do you see how empty everything is? Now, that is the country now, side by side, 2003. You see that? Look at the picture up, look at it down. Just in a few years, the vision of one man, Sheikh Abdullah. Look at him. Look at. Within just a few, look at. 1991, look at. Look at. That is the power of vision. That is the power of vision. Look at then, look at now. Just compare side by side. This is a country with, what's the wealth, what's the resource? Of course, now they discovered oil. But before they discovered oil, you know what they used to have? Of course, fish, just a lot of sand and a lot of water. And that is with what they are building their country, their economy. You see, 1980? Just 1980. So when Dr. Sunday is also talking about the possibility of rebuilding Nigeria, you see, it's possible, it's doable. Because the expense or the currency is vision. What is going to cost us is vision. It's not money, it's vision. 2000, look at, just 2000, 18 years after. Look at all sand, look at it now. Huh? Vision. Pure desert. Sand, just a lot of very, very hot sand. That is vision. So we saw the story of Nauru without vision. all the money, all the wealth, all the resources, and look at what they are today. And then we saw the story of Dubai. No money, no wealth, no resource, but look at what they are today. How did they transform? How did they jump from this left side to the right side? Vision. Vision. A visionless nation will always be what? A meaningless nation. It doesn't matter the amount of wealth and resources. It doesn't matter the name or how many Christians, how many praying Christians are in that country. It will always be what? A meaningless country if it has no vision. So we already discussed all of this. What is vision? I love this quote by this man, Mr. Eckert. You might always want to remember. He said, my eye and God's eye are one eye. One seeing, one knowing, one love. If I have to define vision in just one sentence like that, I will go that my eye and God's eye are what? One eye. One seeing, one knowing, one love. I see the way God sees. When I see the children, I see the way God wants to see them. When I see poor people, I see the way God wants to see them. When I look at my country, I see the way God is seeing the country. When I look at the situation, I see the way God wants to see. That is what is called what? Vision. The physical eye see nothing. As a matter of fact, the physical eyes many times is a limitation to vision. It's a limitation to how God wants you to see. But when your eye becomes God's eye, you are a person of vision. You always see from the perspective of God. You always see from above. You always see the clean streets. You always see a man looked at the desert on the left side and said, I can see buildings springing up everywhere. I can see stories. I can see people not living in poverty. I can see a prosperous nation. I see transportation. I see trains here. I see, basically, when God look at the whole brooding on the waters, you remember that story in Genesis, and everything was without form and shapeless. With vision, God was able to say, look, I can see firmament. I see plants. I see trees. I see water. I see. When you look at everything, I don't know, just try as I'm talking now, cast your mind to your nation. Cast your mind to that nation. That thing that God has placed on your mind. What do you begin to see? What are you telling yourself? I can see form. I see shape. I see vegetation. It looks like desert now, but I can see things growing. I see beauty. That is how God wants us to see. My eye has become what? God's eye. One seeing, one knowing, one love. It is not enough to be up to date. You have to be up to tomorrow. That is what I was saying to doctors yesterday. It is not enough to be up to date. A lot of people say, I want to update myself. I want to be up to date. If you're up to date today, you're already obsolete. You're already late. You have to be up to tomorrow. That is vision. People are already thinking, what is going to be the transportation in 2050? How are people going to live? What is food going to be like? Diet, healthcare, infrastructure, trains. How is it going to be? 100 years from now, some people are already living in that realm. Albert Einstein, 100 years ago, made a mathematical calculation, prediction of the black hole in the universe. Exactly 100 years after black hole was discovered. 100 years ahead of his time. Exactly 100 years ahead. It is possible for a man to live 100 years ahead. Many of these philosophers, I love Socrates a lot. I study up on Socrates. You see the mind of the man. He has traveled into the future and is bringing thoughts. He's bringing philosophies into his own realm, into his own world. That is vision. Don't be up to date. Be what? You have to be up to tomorrow, if possible the day after. Constantly. That is vision. That is vision. So we may not be able to go through all of this. I wish we had the time, but we're fast running out of time. So let's just many of these things I took them from the book. A Visionless Life is a Meaningless Life. So of course, get the book, get all of this, and relate it to your nation, to your world, to your life. The only thing worse than being blind is having sight and no vision. A man that has sight that has eyes but has no vision, the eyes is a burden to him. It's just a burden unto him. Helen Keller said that. She was a woman born blind and dumb. But she did extraordinary things in her lifetime. Right? And she made that statement. She understood that if a man has sight and does not have vision, he's living a very bad life. 2, what your physical eyes can see is very limited. However, there can be no limit to what your mind can see. I don't know if you understand. We started with that game initially. I said, cast your mind 2 years from now. Whatever thing you said when you came out, that was the limit. That was the range of your mind. That was the range. Do you know that each of us can still expand the range of our mind? Yes. There is no limit. Dreams and visions, they cost nothing. They're absolutely free. They are the building blocks with which life is built, and they are absolutely free. But you know what? A lot of people go to the market to buy it, and they buy cheap. So when Elisha told the widow of the prophet, go borrow verses, not a few. Not a few means as much as you can. She went and gathered some, and then she came and said, look, it's all filled up. She got a few. There was a prophet, there was a king in the Bible that the prophet told him, says, fire these arrows. Shoot. And how many times did he shoot? I think 3 times or something. And the prophet said, you will only have victory 3 times. You should have shot. Keep shooting. Keep shooting. It does not matter what time or what stage or at what age or whatever, you have to keep shooting. So I said I was using the book, A Visionless Life is a Meaningless Life. The book is a very powerful book. One of Dr. Sunday again and again says it, incredibly proud of the book. So please, it's essential that as many of us can get it, lay our hands on the book and devour it. You understand now the essence of vision. All right, so keep shooting. That is the word. Therefore, the one who sees with the mind has power over the future. The one who sees with the mind has power over the future. You understand? So in my profession, in my career, in my research works, I'm always thinking years ahead. I'm trying to cast my mind ahead. I'm trying to see ahead of the game. I'm trying to be where other people have not been in the mind. Trying to work with, I don't know if you understand. Things have to constantly be innovative. Every day there has to be something going on. You have to advance yourself, travel, exposure, see the world in a new way, get to meet new people, learn a new language, learn a new skill. Whatever thing it will take you just to expand, to stretch yourself out of that comfort zone, out of that box that many of us have placed ourselves inside, you have to see. You have to do it. You have to do anything at all. The mind plays a very, very silly game on every one of us. If you have not seen a chair that is bigger than this, you will always think below this. But the day that you know that a chair can be this high, your mind automatically shifts too. So this is why constantly you have to expose yourself to new things, new programs, new environments, talk to new people, anything at all just to juggle the mind, to make you creative. Bring new ideas, thoughts and ideas that are not related. Try to relate them. How do I relate chicken with turkey? No, they are too related. Give me 2 unrelated things. With egos, just try and relate things together. Let your mind think. Every one of us was created by God to be creative. Every one of us is a genius. It's amazing. So a lot of us decided to be mediocres just by choice. Do you understand? So juggle your mind, be creative, be innovative, be artistic, be scientific, be a philosopher if you need to be. I can't just study medicine all of my life. It's not possible. What of art? What of creativity? I want to learn music. I want to learn art. Because how do you define me that I'm just a doctor, that I'm just supposed to learn anatomy? And come on, that's too boring. So there has to always be new things coming in, and do you know what? The more I learn about all of those things, I get more creative in my own field. Because there is a lot that the doctors their mind cannot capture. But I have brought many of what I was talking about yesterday night. They will never learn them in medical school. But because I've tried to go outside of that box, so many things now so many ideas will begin to collide in the mind, and when ideas collide together, they produce a new information. Listen very carefully. There's nothing that is new under the sun. Everything has been done, and there's only a new way of doing old thing. So you need a lot of those old information in your mind. Then by the time they begin to collide together, they begin to produce a new thing inside of you. So that is why you need to read, you need to explore, watch videos, just new things per time. Am I making some meaning? All right. So the one who sits with the mind has power over what? How many people want to be 100 years ahead of time? It had always been my dream. Dr. Sunday always says 300 years is living. Let me even first of all try 100, to live, to range, to stretch your mind. To stretch your mind. Today we talk about democracy. Nations are using the concept of democracy for government. You know who introduced democracy? The Socrates and the Aristotles. These men have been dead thousands of years. Their ideas are still ruling the world today. The Greeks, they introduced democracy to the world. It was their philosophy. Today, nations, in fact, many nations of the world are striving to be democratic. The idea of dead men. So who says that the living cannot produce something new, something good? It's in the mind. 3, a nation that is not existing by vision is non-existent. I think we already made that known. Like Nauru, isn't it? They had an illusion. They thought they were existing, but it's only a few years. It became obvious that they really were not, because there was no vision. So if a nation is not existing by vision, either it is Nigeria or America or England, I don't care what name it bears, it is actually what? Non-existent. Because once the fathers die and the children do not know why they actually were, they begin to fight themselves and they will kill each other. So, 4, vision is what gives you the ability and capacity to live beyond the time you currently exist in. We just talked about that, right? To live beyond the time. In other words, with the power of vision, you can live 100 years ahead of your time. All of these people that we see around there, they were men who lived far ahead of their time. Abraham Lincoln, Winston Churchill, Mother Teresa, all of these people, they were able to cast their mind, they were able to live for legacy. Do we get it? Are we still following?
Yes.
So can we just quickly watch this video as I begin to round up? And let's begin to see. Some people are already living. This is the future of transportation. And this is not, you may think that this is going to be very far, but these are technologies that are already on ground. This is just 2050. Just a few years from now, this is how we'll be traveling. It's already existing. Yeah, transportation. And any of us, all of us can be like this. All of us. This comes, speaks you, and you travel. No traffic. No traffic. Because there's no traffic in heaven. So why should there be traffic on earth? As it is in heaven, so it should be on earth. Some people are already thinking like that. Yeah. Is this too challenging for our mind? Yeah. See the child holograms. That is vision. artificial intelligence. Do everything, all the manual work. Takes care of everything. Don't ask me if they disappeared. I just That is vision. Some people are already casting their mind. They are saying the way things could be. The way things could be. Infrastructure, buildings. Okay, I think we had enough. Let's just pause it there. So, thank you. Is it too challenging for us? In 1960, when John F. Kennedy, they were about launching a train that was, I don't know how to describe, but if you've seen Ukrainian train, these locomotive trains, yeah? They were about to launch all of that in the United States, and some group of concerned citizens wrote to John F. Kennedy and said, if we travel at this speed, our brain is going to jump out of our skull. That is too fast. That was locomotive in 1960. If only they know that there are bullet trains now in Japan that takes trips of 10 hours and brings them to 3-4 hours. What would they do? So a lot of people see this and they will be like, oh no, that will be... You just wait.
But the first vehicle,
yes.
Is already
existing.
Yeah,
Wow.
it's already existing.
Wow.
Physical.
Wow. See that.
Just to sort of back it up.
Okay.
There are some projects somebody is sponsoring. If you order a food, I don't know if anybody's have seen it. This machine will be in the food will be in the box, and somebody will be somewhere and everybody's looking. Where is that one going? Before you know, if somebody obstructs it, you just see somebody turning up. Wow. I saw it with my eye too. I said, oh, wow. So I could as well understand. And with this now, there's no traffic. It's free.
Yes.
There's more room.
Yes. And God wants all of us to be participants in creation. God wants all of us to be participants because we have the capacity of vision. So all of us can be partakers of it. Do you get it? So vision is what makes meaning of life. Vision gives sense to industry, to economy, to enterprise, and all of that. We talked about this also. The greatest gift that a man possesses is not anything physical. Do we realize this? The greatest thing, do not envy a man that has $1 million. Envy a man that has an idea. Don't envy a man that has $1 million. Envy a man that has an idea. If a man has anything physical, don't worry. If a man does not have vision, oh goodness. So vision is important. Vision, this is very important. Yeah, let me give you this story. You see, on the left side, we have what is called the Walls of Benin in Nigeria. The Walls of Benin in Nigeria, do you know that it's actually 4 times longer than the Great Wall of China? China's war revenue gives China revenue of millions and millions of dollars per year. And do you know that we have something that is bigger than the Wall of China in Nigeria? The Wall of Benin. The pastor was talking of the Benin Empire, extremely one of the greatest empires of history. Do you know what our people do? They go with axes and with buckets, and they begin to tear down the walls to take soil to go and build their own houses. Because there is no vision, isn't it? But look at what China. So they actually believe that this was the monument. This was actually they believe that it was built by the Queen of Sheba of Ethiopia. Very big, very massive, multiple times the size of the Pyramid of Egypt. Is in Oyo State there, in Nigeria. Do you know that it was just discovered and nobody, even the government, they said they don't even know that it is there. And look at the way it is covered in. But do you know how many people visit the Pyramid of Egypt every year? Huh? You can imagine that. Revenue, so much money. But we have more than that. But look at, because there is what? No vision. So it is not about the physical thing. It is about insight. It's about what you can see. So this is an example. This is a clear case of a country going to waste deliberately. Landmarks going to waste deliberately. You know, Europeans got to this monument and they were extremely shocked. More than 1 million man-hours of work went into building this by estimation. So much. They imagined that who were the kind of human beings that could have built such walls like this. This used to be one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, the Pyramid of Egypt. So if this is called one of the 7 wonders of the ancient world, what do we call the Erido Wall in Nigeria? Nobody even knew that it's there. Though bigger, though larger, though better. I don't know if we are seeing this. It's not about the poverty of resources, it's about the poverty of the mind. The physical eye is a burden to any man that is living without vision. Everything that he has will be a burden to him, just like this. All of the structure, they will be a burden to him. People saw no need for it. So they went with their wheelbarrows and all of that and began to cut it. You know, let's destroy it. What is it there for anyway? You know, they never saw. They never saw. Vision makes you a person of value to the world. With the vision that you have and that you got, the world appreciates your existence and why you are here. The only reason why the world will appreciate all of these people that are around the walls that we see today, the only reason why the world appreciate that they were here is because of what? The vision they had. A lot of people are going to come, they will leave, they will die, they will go, and nobody will ever remember that they walked this path, that they ever walked through. I don't want to be like that, right? Each of us must endeavor, we must leave a legacy and write our name bold in the sands of time. That I was here, I came. You know, Pastor used to tell the story of people like showing a woman a graveyard. I think we were talking about that just yesterday. You know, that a man lived between, let's say, 1960 to 2000, and then they will put dash, and then they write 2017. 1960, they said that dash that they wrote, do you know the meaning of it? Do you know what it is worth? That is the entire. What is it worth? The entire lifetime of a man that they put with an hyphen. Nothing. Just an hyphen, just dash. Just a stroke of the pen. Dash. But there are some people that such will never ever be able to describe their life. Because they came, they saw, they fought, and they conquered. Somebody posted on on Facebook this afternoon, and I read it, that Napoleon Bonaparte of France was just 24 years old when he led his entire nation into an army. He basically conquered his continent. Of course, it's, what do you call it? Europe, what do you call that now? Yeah, basically at a very dynamic young age. How old was Alexander the Great? Alexander the Great, when he inherited, he was 17 when he took over the throne of his father. The Greek, when he basically was the one that established the modern world. He was the student of Aristotle. And he, from all of the understanding, military warfare and all that, he united the world. By the time he died at 32, he died at the young age of 32. By the time he died at 32, he had conquered the world. He had conquered the then known world. He had established the Greek Empire, and from the Greek Empire, we had the Roman Empire and all other one. But that was the first man that united the world, a young man of 17. Is it possible or not? Can we be dynamic or not? Can we live with vision or not? It is possible. What will make you a person of value to the world will not be money, will not be wealth, will not be profession, will not be family, will not be children, will not be, name it. The only thing that will make you a value to the world is the vision you lived for. Mother Teresa never had any children of her own, but she said, look, I can adopt all the children of the world. Mary Slessor never had any children of her own, But she said, look, there is not going to be any killing of twins again in my lifetime. And she decided that today the entire city of Calabar in Nigeria consider themselves as children. That is what is possible. Men like David Livingstone, the rest of so many of them lived for something, for a legacy, and their impact will never be forgotten. What is it that you will always be known for? What is it that you will always be known for? All right. Lovely quote by Muhammad Ali. Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. He says the hands can't eat what the eyes can't see. The eyes has to see it first. Before they, the story of vision that I always love to use is a boxer, so you understand what he's saying. It's like you tie rope around a man's eye, he can't see right, and you put him in a boxing ring with an opponent, and you say fight. So one man is fighting with his eyes blinded because he has no vision, and another man is fighting with his two eyes open. Who do you think will win? Is that even a match? We will have to call ambulance for the other guy, isn't it? But do you know that is how a lot of people are going through life? When a man goes through life without vision, you are actually in a boxing ring with your eyes folded up. So everything becomes a blow. Everything lands as a punch. Everything destabilizes you. Everything becomes a distraction. Why? Float like a butterfly, sting like a bee. The hands can't eat what the eyes can't see. All right. Vision is to a nation what a flight manifests. I think I'll just stop on this last 10th point. Vision is to a nation what a flight manifest is to an aeroplane. What is a flight manifest? Before a plane takes off, it has to declare, this is where I'm going to, and this is the route that I'll be going through. But do you imagine that a plane took off without a flight manifest? Where are you going? Said anywhere? I don't know. Where will you land anytime? Which route, any route I see. What? Anywhere. I'm just taking off. How many of us will join such a flight? No. So why is it that many of us travel through life without a manifest? Vision is the manifest of any life. Vision is what gives a manifest. It's what declares, this is my destination, this is my course. And not only when such people are flying through life, do you know that they are not just a disaster to themselves, they are also a disaster to everyone. Right? So that is why you want to do something and somebody will come up and tell you and discourage you and say, don't. When you see people like that, that is because they are actually danger on two legs. They have already happened. They are disasters that have already happened. So that is why we can, once you have a flight manifest, don't even bother about all of that, because there are a lot of people have taken off in life, but they don't have a flight manifest. They don't have a flight manifest. So people have all the time in the world for all the things and every other person and all the activities and all the ceremony. It's Saturday, we go for this. On Sunday, we go to, on Friday, it's vigil. On just everything happening everywhere, just because there's no flight manifest. So eventually they get somewhere and then they crash. It's a pity. So many points, so many things. But we just stop somewhere. Okay. Okay. To read through, okay. You don't have to read through, but if you want to. Okay. You can read through, or if you don't want, you don't have time. Okay. At least show the slide, you can use it to. All right. So maybe you want to snap. Oh, okay. We'll be able to see. Oh, great. So life without vision is death. 12 says. Is death. I think now we really agree with me that without vision, is death is just waiting one day to physically close one eyes. But death has happened longer. It's unfortunate that the day some people were born was the day they also died. Because there was no vision. But the day you catch vision, if you catch your vision at the age of 70, that is the day you actually got born. If you got your vision at the age of 50, that is the day you got born. That is the actual date. They say that there are two important dates in a man's life. The day he was born and the day he knows why. Right? The two most important days in a man's life, the day he was born and the day he knows why he was born. So that is the day he discovered his vision. He discovered his essence and why. And, Miles Morrow's quote, remember, the graveyard is the richest place on earth because it is there that you find all the hopes and dreams that were never fulfilled. And he used to say that if I could harvest it, he said I would be the wealthiest man. All the books, inventions, paintings, thoughts that people never did just because they were afraid. So I wanted to show this video about China. China, their program for the world, and basically how they are conquering. China has gone far ahead. Let's forget. The rest of us, we are just pawns. How many people play chess? Pawn. How you just move pawns in the game of chess, we won't play this. Maybe we can just play one video. So I said, vision bets creativity, the sculptor story. Let me tell us a little story about the sculptor. I think I'll end with this. A man had a log of wood in his house. The wood had always been there, like big wood, really. It had always been there. And it had always been, maybe one day I'm just going to throw it away and use it for firewood or something. That had always been there. Then one day, a man paid him a visit. That other man is a sculptor. And the man said, can I take home this piece of wood and all that? He said, it's a waste already. It's just a disturbance in my house. Go with it, do whatever thing you want. And the sculptor went home with the wood, and he sat down to work on it and carved an amazing work out of it and sold that work later for thousands of dollars. And when he sold the work, he smiled to himself and said, truly, the eye sees nothing. It is only the mind that sees. All the while that piece of wood was in the man's house, what did he see? Just wood. Some husbands, when you look at their wife, what do they just see? Just wives, just women. Some parents, when they look at their children, what do they see? Just children, just children. Some people, when they look at their house, what do they see? Their cars, what do they see? Just. All you need to do is give it to a man of vision. Just give it to a man of vision. You'll be amazed at what lies in there. Vision is the capacity to see beyond what is happening to the realms of what could be, what is. Everything. There is always more to what you see. Please don't forget that. If you can put it and note it, there will always be more. When you meet somebody, there is more to them than you see. You could see somebody that is angry, that is so, there is always more to them than what you see. There is, somebody that there is always more than what you see. Let's pay attention to that. And waste. I think let's play this video and end it with this video about this last video, and we'll be ended. Yes. Sorry, Baba. No, it's okay. So let's pay attention to this. Waste. Everybody's making waste. This. Sorry, I already moved it. I'm sorry. Okay, sorry. So we're always complaining waste. Who wants waste around their house? But do you know there is a country that is actually importing waste from other people's country? Because they have I've already moved it again? Okay, can we copy that link and maybe use it on YouTube? Okay. So we'll just play this video as the last. Yeah, or you can just put in Sweden's waste on YouTube and it will. Have we had a beautiful afternoon? Has it been worth it? Thank you. Okay. Please, you can just copy the link. Out of the presentation? Okay. So let's just pay a few minutes of attention to see. There's something I want to bring out from this. It's about the fact that there is always more to what you see. Some people
produces.
Yeah, some people see waste. A nation is seeing wealth. So let us see how that happens.
Garbage. Sweden is no different, but it's what they do with that waste that is a bit unusual.
Swedes produce a fair amount of waste, approximately 460 kilos per person and year, which amounts to 4.4 million tons every year. Less than 1% goes to landfill, and the rest is about 50-50 recycled and energy recovery.
With recycling and sorting of garbage a way of life, Sweden is able to convert much of its waste into energy. With its 32 incineration plants, Sweden is considered the world leader in the field of waste to energy, or energy recovery. In Helsingborg, in the south of Sweden, about 40% of households get their district heating from garbage incinerated at the brand new Filborna plant.
The waste that we use here comes from two main sources, the households and industrial waste. It is sorted, meaning that scrap metal, foodstuffs, glass, etc. has been sorted prior to incineration here. A good number to remember is that 3 tons of waste contains as much energy as 1 ton of fuel oil. So there's a lot of energy in waste.
In Sweden, we incinerate 2.2 million tons of household waste in these plants every year.
Despite the millions of tons of garbage produced by the Swedes, the plants have an overcapacity. This has led to an interesting business for Sweden, the importing of waste from other European countries.
Waste today is a commodity in a different way than it has been. It's not only waste, it's a business. We import approximately
so these are imported waste
tons yearly. We sell service. It's mainly Norway, the UK, Ireland, Italy.
What we have here is imported English household waste. Each one of these weighs about 700 kilos, which corresponds to 250 kilos of fuel oil in energy terms. So there's a lot of energy here. 20% of the fuel.
Let's just stop it there. I think we could stop it. Another man's treasure. Because the physical eyes see nothing. The mind can see a lot. The mind sees everything. So why country sees waste? A country looks at it and says, we see energy. You see the man says it. There's a lot of energy in there. You look at what we call waste. I say that is energy. the previous slide. Okay, forward. Okay. So the inspiration that is better by vision is what has been employed by developed nations to transform their nations. This is very, very important. You know, that inspiration, there is no country on earth. I'm absolutely convinced that no country on earth ought to be poor. Every country in the world is self-sufficient, you know. But then the biggest problem is the problem of vision, because a visionless country is a meaningless, you know. So eyes that see, they are limited, but the mind is unlimited. The mind is eternal. So why did I put this? I can't remember. Okay, this is Germany now. Right? This is Frankfurt in Germany, picture of Germany. But do you know, a few years ago, this wasn't the case. After World War II, you want to know what Germany looked like? Just in one generation, less than just about 1947, yes? Then to now, that is how much? Period of 60, 70 years, right? That is what that's become. One generation. Or 2 generations, because they say generations 40 years. So, 71 years. Yes, 71 years. Again. So a man could look at this and say, look, I can see what? Now I see. I can see this. The power of vision. A visionless country is a meaningless country. A visionless nation is a meaningless nation. We round up, it's over. Vision makes us, yes, this should be about the last. Vision makes us understand that developing a nation is not an impossibility, that it is possible, right? We've seen that through Germany. It does not matter the depth of despair that your country lay. It does not matter the extent of ruins of the nation. Sometimes you look at the vast number of addicts or the vast number of street children and say, oh, there's so much ruin. But with vision, what can we see? What can we see? We see this. So why the children and the orphans and the reality looks like this, but with the person of vision, you can see this, right? It is possible. So you will also rise to become a developed nation. I wrote it there. With vision, you will rise to become a developed nation. Vision stops you from looking for foreign aid. It's always about help. It's always about, and that is the biggest problem of the African mind. It's always about help, You forgot that you are self-sufficient. It always begins with what do you have? What can you do? The oven in your house, the fridge, the water, the pen, the computer, everything is a wealth of resource like that. If you know where Amazon began from, you know where Apple began from under the garage. Look at today, Apple is a multi-billion-dollar company, something that started from the garage. It is possible, right? Putting bits and pieces of everything together, it is possible. The Wright brothers didn't start about by building planes and all of that. They started by putting their father's bicycle parts and all of those things, using all of these scraps together and produced a flying object. Today, the first flying object that the Wright brothers produced is a multi-billion-dollar company, aviation company around the world. Two brothers. It is possible. Vision creates everything. Vision bets everything. Everything that will be betted by the power of vision. Right? So let's stop looking for this and that. Let us begin to look at what we can create. Inside of every one of us are companies, are solutions, ideas, innovations, inventions, ideas, philosophies, books, music, a lot of things that are resident on the inside. Vision will bring it out. Says vision is beyond you. It's not about you. Well, a lot of us will do, I just want to buy my car. And God is saying you don't have to buy a car. You have inside of you a car line. Inside of you a car line. And then you just want to drive a car. Some people are looking for clothes. I just want to buy a clothes. Whereas inside of you is a brand. You have your clothing brand. But some people, it's just about, can you imagine some people will buy clothes and come to church and testify, or buy a car and come to church. In fact, in Africa, the entire church will come out to come and pray for the car, to anoint the car with oil. Whereas is the car line on the inside of that person, right? So, God is going to be inside of every one of us a well of water that is springing forth. God is going to bless us with ideas, with invention. It's not about you. It's not about building the largest church or building the biggest this and the biggest that. It's about a multi-generational vision for other people that nobody in my lifetime, beyond my lifetime, is going to go through pain. No child that has no parent is going to go through. A lot of these things. Vision. When it is about you, me, myself, and I, it is personal ambition. That one, it dies. Ambitions die with people at the point of their death. It lays with them. We put it together, But vision, we always go beyond. Are we getting it? Ambition, there's nothing that you are. Build the largest house. Build the tallest building in the world. Buy the most cars. All of those things, we are going to still do what? It's going to die. But vision, we always do what? Go into the future. Outlive you. Generations after. Mother Teresa, several years after she's been gone. All of these people, several years, Mahatma Gandhi, all of them, several years after they are gone, the world cannot but talk about them. Why? Because of vision. 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 The only real poverty in the world is poverty of the mind. We talked about that. A nation is not gauged. Listen to this. Listen, no matter what it is you have, a nation is not gauged by its length and width. Right? By its length and width, but by the broadness of its vision and the height of its dreams. If we want to measure the stature of a man, we do not measure the stature of a man by its length and width. How do we measure the stature of a man? By the broadness of vision and the height of his dream. This is why when DSA is talking, you just want to listen. The broadness of vision. This is what Nigeria can be. I want to reconstruct Enugu and the Badon. I want to be. Do you understand? That is the size of a man. So if you want to truly know the size of a man, Don't check out the number of private jets and the number of cars and the number of houses. Check out the broadness of vision. Not ambition, vision. Vision. What it is that you want to do for the freedom of mind. It was John F. Kennedy says, ask not what America will do for you. He says, ask what you can do for America. He said, my fellow citizens of the world, ask not what America will do for you. Ask what together we can do for the freedom of man, of mankind. May God help us. Thank you.
Yes! Woo! 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 Yes, thank you, Dr. Success. Wow, that was awesome. So thank you very much for staying with us, our friends on Facebook. We will be back 7 p.m. Ukraine time. Thank you and see you. Bye-bye.